Stop scrolling. If a woman loves you madly, her behavior will quietly rewrite your reality before your mind even catches up. Most men miss it because love doesn't shout first. It rearranges things in silence. When a woman falls deeply in love, the first thing that changes is not what she says to you, but how her attention reorganizes itself around your presence. Attention is currency, and women do not spend it recklessly. She begins to invest it in you without announcing it. Her focus lingers longer. Her listening becomes sharper, and she remembers details you never realized you revealed. Not because she is trying to impress you, but because your inner world has become emotionally relevant to hers. This is not politeness. This is attachment forming. You will notice she adjusts her emotional rhythm to match yours. If you are calm, she softens. If you are anxious, she senses it before you speak. Women in love become attuned, almost like emotional translators. She starts reading between your sentences, hearing what you do not say, responding to moods rather than words. This happens unconsciously, and it costs her energy. She would not do this for someone she feels neutral about. Emotional attunement is effort, and effort reveals priority. Another subtle sign is how she makes space for you in her life without asking for permission. She shifts routines. She rearranges time. She begins to include you in decisions that technically do not require your input, not because she needs approval, but because she wants alignment. Love creates a desire to move in the same direction, even in small, invisible ways. This is her testing emotional compatibility, not control. Watch how she handles your flaws. A woman madly in love does not ignore them, but she contextualizes them. She sees your weaknesses as part of a larger pattern, not as deal breakers. She may challenge you, but the tone is different. It is not contempt, it is concern. There is a quiet hope underneath her words that you will rise, not fail. Indifference criticizes. Love invests. She also becomes protective of your emotional dignity. She will not expose you unnecessarily. She avoids embarrassing you in public or diminishing you in front of others. Even during disagreement, there is a line she refuses to cross. This is important. When a woman loves you deeply, she guards your image because in her mind, your image reflects on her emotional safety. Disrespect feels self-destructive to her. One of the most overlooked signs is consistency during emotional neutrality. When there is no excitement, no conflict, no drama, she still shows up. Many women can be passionate during highs and expressive during lows. Love reveals itself in the middle, in the ordinary, in the unremarkable moments where she chooses you without stimulation. That is not chemistry. That is commitment forming. Beneath the surface. Finally, she becomes curious about your future self, not just your past, not just your present, but who you are becoming. She asks questions that stretch forward, goals, fears, direction. This is not interrogation. It is emotional projection. She is imagining you and her life ahead, and imagination is the first draft of attachment. When a woman loves you madly, she does not just see you. She sees time with you, and she wants to understand what that time could become. Men who recognize these early shifts respond with steadiness, not panic, allowing love to deepen naturally without force over time. When a woman loves you madly, her emotional defenses do something rare. They lower without collapsing. This is where most men get confused. Vulnerability does not arrive as weakness. It arrives as selective openness. She does not suddenly tell everyone everything. She tells you things she has never organized out loud before. Not because she wants sympathy, but because your presence feels like a safe place to land her truth. She starts revealing emotions that do not benefit her image. Doubts, insecurities, conflicting thoughts. A woman who is merely interested will present her strongest self. A woman who is deeply in love allows you to see the unfinished parts. This is not accidental. She is testing whether her rawness will be respected or exploited. How you respond in these moments silently determines how deeply she will attach. You will notice she becomes emotionally honest, even when it costs her comfort. She admits when she misses you instead of pretending she is busy. She expresses when something hurt her instead of withdrawing. This is important. Women are taught to manage emotions carefully. When she stops filtering them around you, it means emotional safety has replaced emotional strategy. Love removes the need for constant self-protection. Another powerful sign is how she reacts to your silence. A woman who does not care deeply will fill the gap with distraction. A woman in love feels the absence not in a needy way, but in a reflective one. She wonders what you are thinking. She replays conversations. She checks her tone. This is not insecurity. This is emotional investment. Silence creates space. And when she fills that space with thoughts of you, attachment is already active. Watch how she supports your growth. Not in loud encouragement, but in subtle alignment. She encourages habits that strengthen you. She notices when you improve. She feels proud of your progress in ways that surprise even her. A woman madly in love wants to see you win, not because your success benefits her status, but because your confidence makes her feel emotionally secure. Your strength becomes part of her sense of safety. She also begins to regulate conflict differently. Disagreements stop being about winning and start being about understanding. She may still feel strongly, but her goal shifts. She listens longer. She clarifies instead of assuming. She may even pause arguments to return to them later with more control. This is a major signal. Emotional regulation during conflict is not attraction. It is attachment protecting itself. Another thing most men overlook is how she mirrors your values. Not by copying opinions, but by aligning priorities. If something matters to you, it begins to matter to her. She defends things you care about even when you are not present. This is identity blending, and it only happens when emotional bonds deepen. She is integrating you into her internal framework of meaning. Finally, pay attention to how she speaks about you when you are not around. You may never hear it directly, but you will feel it indirectly through respect, consistency, and loyalty. A woman in love protects the emotional narrative of the man she loves. She frames you with care. She does not casually undermine you. This internal loyalty is far stronger than public affection. When these patterns appear, the smartest thing a man can do is remain grounded. Do not rush. Do not test. Do not withdraw to regain control. Love grows best in emotional stability. When she feels safe and inspired around you, attachment doesn't just deepen, it roots itself. When a woman loves you madly, her instincts shift from self-preservation to emotional preservation. This is where her behavior becomes deeply revealing because instinct is harder to fake than words. She begins to act in ways that protect the connection. Even when her ego would prefer another response, that sacrifice is subtle, but it is real. You will notice she starts choosing patience where impatience would be easier. She gives you time to process, time to grow, time to catch up emotionally. A woman who is only interested demands clarity, quickly. A woman in love understands that depth unfolds slowly. Her patience is not passive, it is intentional. She believes in the bond enough to allow it to breathe. Another powerful sign is how she manages her attraction to other options. When love is shallow, comparison is constant. When love is deep, comparison fades. This does not mean she becomes blind to others. It means her emotional focus narrows. You become the reference point. Others feel distant, less relevant, less emotionally charged. This narrowing is not forced. It happens naturally when emotional attachment strengthens. She also becomes more emotionally generous. She gives reassurance without being asked. She checks in without suspicion. She celebrates you without competition. Emotional generosity is expensive. It costs vulnerability and risk. Women do not offer it freely unless they feel a strong emotional pull. This generosity is not about pleasing you. It is about maintaining emotional closeness. Watch how she responds when you are vulnerable. When you reveal fear, uncertainty, or doubt, she leans in rather than pulling away. This is critical. Many men are taught to hide vulnerability out of fear of losing attraction. But when a woman loves you deeply, your vulnerability humanizes you rather than diminishes you. She feels trusted, and trust strengthens attachment faster than confidence alone. You will also see her making emotional repairs. If she feels she misunderstood you, she corrects it. If she senses distance, she addresses it gently. If she hurts you, she acknowledges it. These repairs are not dramatic apologies. They are quiet adjustments. Emotional repair behavior is one of the strongest indicators of long-term attachment. It means the relationship matters more than being right. Another sign is how she handles your independence. A woman madly in love does not try to shrink your world. She respects your solitude, your friendships, your pursuits, not because she does not care, but because she trusts the bond. Possessiveness comes from fear. Love expresses itself through confidence in connection. She wants you whole, not dependent. Pay attention to her emotional memory. She remembers how you felt, not just what happened. She recalls moments that mattered to you, even if they seemed insignificant at the time. Emotional memory requires emotional encoding, and the brain only encodes deeply when something is meaningful. This is neurological evidence of attachment, not romantic fantasy. She also begins to include you emotionally during stress. When life pressures rise, she does not disappear. She reaches out. She seeks your presence even if she cannot articulate why. In love, emotional regulation becomes shared. Your calm affects her calm. Your support stabilizes her nervous system. This interdependence is not weakness. It is bonding. Finally, her intuition sharpens around you. She senses shifts in your energy. She notices distance before it becomes obvious. She asks questions not to interrogate, but to reconnect. This sensitivity is not paranoia. It is attunement strengthened by emotional investment. When a woman loves you madly, she does not cling. She connects. She does not control. She cares. And when a man responds with consistency, integrity, and emotional presence, that love does not fade quietly. It deepens into something resilient, something rare, something that does not need constant proof to survive. When a woman loves you madly, her behavior becomes future-oriented in ways that feel almost invisible. Unless you know what to look for. She starts acting as if the connection is meant to last, even before she consciously decides that it will. This is not planning weddings or making promises. This is something quieter and far more telling. She begins to factor you into her long-term thinking, not in dramatic declarations, but in assumptions. She talks about future events and naturally includes you. She considers how decisions today might affect us tomorrow, even if she never uses that word. This shift from individual framing to shared framing is one of the clearest psychological markers of deep romantic attachment. You will notice she becomes more emotionally consistent. Her moods stabilize around you. The emotional highs are less chaotic, the lows less volatile. Love regulates her nervous system. When she feels secure with you, her emotions settle into something calmer, more grounded. This is why deep love often feels peaceful rather than intoxicating. Excitement attracts, stability attaches. Another sign is how she protects the relationship from external noise. Opinions from friends, past experiences, or social media trends lose influence over her perception of you. She evaluates you based on her direct experience, not outside narratives. This independence of judgment only happens when emotional investment is strong enough to override external validation. She also begins to reveal her boundaries more clearly. This may surprise you. A woman in love does not blur her boundaries. She clarifies them. She trusts you enough to be honest about her limits, needs, and expectations. This is not resistance. This is respect. She believes the connection is strong enough to hold truth without breaking. Watch how she handles uncertainty. When things are unclear, she seeks conversation instead of distance. She asks instead of assuming. She clarifies instead of testing. Games disappear when love becomes the priority. Emotional clarity replaces emotional strategy because the goal is no longer attraction but alignment. She also becomes more forgiving but not forgetful. She allows space for mistakes, especially when she sees effort and accountability. Her forgiveness is not blind. It is conditional on growth. This shows that she is investing in potential, not just performance. Love sees who you are becoming, not just who you have been. Another powerful signal is how she emotionally integrates you into her sense of self. Your opinions start to matter more. Your approval carries weight not because she needs it, but because she values your perspective. This is not dependency. This is influence born from respect and affection. She also starts sharing her inner conflicts with you, not to burden you, but to feel understood. She allows you into her decision-making process. This transparency is rare. It means she sees you as a partner, not just a romantic interest. Partnership thinking only emerges when love feels safe and serious. Notice how she responds to your presence during difficult moments. She does not perform strength. She allows softness. She lets you see her tired, uncertain, or overwhelmed. This is not loss of attraction. This is trust. She believes your care will not disappear when she stops being perfect. Finally, her affection becomes quieter but deeper. Less show, more substance, less intensity, more meaning. Love matures from sparks into something steadier, something that does not need constant reassurance to exist. When a woman reaches this stage, the connection has moved beyond desire into devotion, not obsession, not fantasy. Devotion rooted in emotional security, mutual respect, and shared direction. This is where many men accidentally sabotage things by chasing excitement instead of honoring stability. But stability, when recognized, is where love becomes unbreakable. When a woman loves you madly, the final and most powerful shift happens quietly. She chooses you even when no one is watching. Not for validation, not for security, but because emotionally you have become home. This is the stage most men never recognize until it is gone. She stops evaluating the relationship and starts inhabiting it. There is less questioning, less testing, less analysis. Her energy moves from assessment to presence. She is not wondering if you are the right man. She is investing in being the right partner. That internal decision changes everything, and it is rarely announced out loud. You will feel her loyalty before you hear it. It shows in how she speaks about you when you are absent, in how she defends your intentions, not just your actions, in how she assumes the best of you during uncertainty. Loyalty at this level is emotional, not contractual. It exists before commitments are named. Another unmistakable sign is how she prioritizes emotional peace over emotional stimulation. She no longer seeks drama, intensity, or emotional spikes. She wants calm, safety, and connection. Your presence becomes regulating rather than exciting, and that is not a loss of attraction. That is attachment settling into depth. She also begins to trust your leadership in subtle ways, not domination, not control, but guidance. She values your perspective during uncertainty. She feels reassured when you are grounded. This trust grows when a man is consistent, emotionally steady, and aligned with his values. It is not demanded, it is earned. Watch how she responds to external stress. When life pressures hit, she turns toward you, not away. She seeks emotional proximity, not escape. She wants to process with you, not alone. This shared regulation is one of the strongest indicators of long-term bonding. She also becomes less performative in love. There is less need to impress, less fear of being misunderstood. She shows up as she is trusting that who she is will be enough. This comfort is not complacency. It is emotional security. Another sign is how she imagines challenges with you rather than without you. When she thinks about problems, obstacles, or fears, you are present in the picture, not as a solution, but as a companion. Love at this level is not about rescue. It is about partnership. She also allows herself to depend on you in healthy ways. She asks for help when needed. She accepts support without guilt. This interdependence is not weakness. It is trust manifested through action. Finally, her love becomes quiet but unwavering, less visible to outsiders, more powerful internally. It is not fueled by constant emotion, but by choice. A daily, repeated choice to show up, to care, to stay emotionally connected. And this is where the responsibility shifts to you. Because love like this does not ask for perfection. It asks for presence, for honesty, for consistency, for growth. So here's the question I want you to answer honestly in the comments. If a woman loved you like this, would the man you are today know how to keep her? If this spoke to you, like the video, subscribe for deeper relationship psychology, and share this with a friend who needs to hear it, right?